So another great record from the Songs in the Key of Life album. I've looked at Sir Duke, you can see that on my channel, and please do subscribe for future content. So today it's I Wish, which is the tune that came after Sir Duke on that album. It's all eighth notes at the start. Now you think, well, okay, that's easy, there's no rhythmic sort of thing to worry about, but actually you've got to lock in with the drums to make it really, really work. Some people do this, where they just learn the notes but the rhythmic security isn't there, and actually this riff depends entirely on it. Now Logan is playing B-side here on GarageBand iOS, and it's a very useful device to practice with. Always practice with a drum rhythm if you can. If you don't have an iOS device, you can just go on Google and type drum rhythms, and people upload stuff to YouTube, just 5 minutes of drums at 80 BPM or something. Very, very useful. So I've got him kick and snare 4, hi-hat 4, no fills, and somewhere in the middle of simple and complex on the drum kit here. So if you listen to the drum beat here, you can hear those eighth notes quite clearly, and it's very human sounding drum machine. So this particular one on iOS GarageBand is very, very good to play along with, because actually it does represent really what you would find out in the field, as it were. So the riff, you can play this in a few different ways. If you look at the tablature online, it might specify this. Oh. Or it might specify, or it might do this. The answer is you've got to find the one that makes sense to you. And it could be that it's more difficult going across the strings, but you've got all the frets in one place. For example, this. And that's the one I use. So it's in E flat minor, 6 flats if you're bass clef inclined. So what we do is we've got main position is 3 to 6 here. So you've got your first finger on 3, middle on 4, annular on 5, and last finger on 6. Make sure that last finger gets used. If you exercise it lots on the bass, it'll develop the same or similar strength to your other 3, and therefore give you loads of capability. The only note that's outside this range is the 2nd fret on the E string, that F sharp or G flat, because we're in E flat minor, they're all going to be flats rather than sharps. E flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, A flat, C, D flat, D, E flat. So before we get Logan in on this, and then that's your riff, that's your 2-bar line. So the best thing to do at the moment is just to play without a drum beat, just get the notes in place. So we've got 6, 2, 4, 6, 4, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 on the A string, then 4th fret middle finger, last finger, and then index finger on the top string, on the 1st string, so you've got the B flat there, and then last finger on the D string, index finger on C, which is 3rd fret on the A string, and then 4, 5, and then you're back to the beginning. So practice that slowly just to get that riff in mind. And just sit there and chill. Don't worry about speed or tempo. Whenever you run a marathon, you wouldn't run 26 miles. In training you'd only run 20. think of it in those terms when you're practicing the speed of something. Always just back it off a bit, because actually you have to learn the mechanics of how your fingers are going to get round the fretboard at race speed, as it were. A word about the right hand. Notice that I'm using alternate middle and index fingers. Try not to look at them. This is like the gears in the car. You wouldn't look at the gear stick in a car because you'd start mowing people down. Try and judge where the strings are, because there's a lot more going on in the left hand. So, on board comes Logan. So here's the tempo. So I'm just going to slow him down a bit. It's 96 at the moment, which is not far off what the tempo is on the record. Let's go 70, 72 or something. 70. There we go. 70 beats per minute. Yeah, that's pretty comfortable. I play this out on gigs quite a lot, but it's nice just to come in the studio and just slow it down and just really get into sort of getting that sound really refined. It can be very easy on a gig just to fall into habits and say, oh, I wish, yeah. And just fall into those habits of just playing tunes for their own sake. But when you really get into that sort of technical side of it, you can really explore getting a better sound. So at the moment that's at 70 beats per minute. If you want to slow it down even further, let's try 60 beats per minute. Now the notes are going along at the same rate as those hi-hats. Playing slower really does help you get to grips with the rhythmic security and the evenness of those eighth notes, because it's all ba 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 ba. They have to be absolutely equal in order for it to work, because the drummer's not going to go t t t t t t t, because then the drummer's not very good. The drummer's going to go t t t t t t ding 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 ding. So you and the drummer have to be really locked in on that, and if that works and the singer's singing the lyrics, everything's basically there. You just need some guitar chords which can just be doing a sort of rhythmic thing in the background. Now when you speed it all the way up to, let's try, I think it's about 90, 96 or 100 maybe. Let's try 100, see what that sounds like. That's actually a little bit faster than the record. It's very easy to overestimate tempos, partly from gigging them so much. People are like, you listen to the record and it goes, you think, God, we're playing it too fast. It's a common thing for bands, is to just play stuff, just to race through stuff, and actually tempos are chosen for a number of reasons. Yeah, does it groove? Does it allow those words to be delivered? Can the bass player play that riff? Can the drummer do some cool things with the hi-hat? Put some little swing bits on the hats there. If they can, it's great because it just grooves. So let's slow it down to sort of 94 maybe, and we might be sort of there with the record. Notice how I'm able to put little inflections in of my own because I'm having a nice time at this tempo. Once again, whatever the tablature says, whatever the record is, feel free to put your own things in. Of course, if you're in a Stevie Wonder tribute band, you're going to be more specific. But, you know, everyone knows that that's I Wish, or that from the Wild Wild West. You know, people know it, know the line, so it doesn't matter if you sort of play with it a bit. Now, the next bit, after you've done your main bit here, so, a few little issues there. I'm going to do that instead. So, the lead into the next bit, instead of this coming back to the beginning of your riff, you play the same fingers but on the E string, which leads you onto a B flat, which is the first chord of the so in. Now, this I just got from the record, learnt it from the record, listened to the record, think, oh yeah, that's how it goes. There are people out there who say, oh no, that's not right. It should be this note at this point. Really, it's like learning. It's like learning a story. The best way to learn a story is to listen to somebody reading it, and then you tell it. You can get these sort of Chinese whispers, but really it doesn't matter. It shows that this is human, and it's not just, you know, feeding data into a computer and expecting exactly the same thing out the other end. So anyway, I've got this for the middle bit. B flat, and then 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. Then you've got a choice. I'm going to go 8th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 7th, 8th, 5th, 6th. So practice it. Up to there. And then actually the next bit is actually the same, apart from the end few notes. So sometimes learning a string of numbers doesn't actually help. You just pitch it and you think, oh well, it's the same again but with a different bit at the end. Make those things sort of events, those sort of groups of notes. Now in the gaps, the you've got that sort of I've never bothered to learn that, because actually you can just put in something else. So you can put in your own thing, you know, why copy down to that sort of detail? It doesn't really make much sense, because all bass players are different. You could put a slap bass something in, but it has to be sympathetic to the record. So if I do the Apart from that, which I came in early with, there's a fill that you can put in that just, you know, just something that works in the key. So E flat minor, you could do a pentatonic on E flat. And there you go. There it is. I Wish by Stevie Wonder.